reminding everybody, everyone but Sharon and Marty, please mute yourselves. And we'll get this show on the road. So I want to welcome you all. My name is Dr. Meryl Kenner, and I am the Director for Career Counseling Placement at JBS. And actually, before I go into my little elevator pitch, which is actually what it is, what I do at the beginning of these programs, I want to thank all of you, especially those of you who've been on these calls before. I had a new client yesterday. I don't know if she's on or not. I didn't see. And she got to us because she'd been on one of these calls, and she said she's been in a lot of different groups, a lot of different Zooms. And she said our group is the warmest and most friendliest and most helpful out of all her groups. So I want to thank all of you who've been on these calls before for continuing that feeling. I know that that's how we operate at JBS. That's our feeling. And that's how Sharon and I work. And so we're glad that that feeling has been passed on to our Zoom meetings, even if we can't be there to see you face to face and in person. But for those of you who have never been on the program before, and I apologize to those who have heard this a million and zillion times, JBS is an international organization. We have been around since 1939, and during all those years that we've been around, we have been very busy helping people help themselves, helping people find jobs, helping people get back on their feet, whether they are people who have disabilities, people who are recent emigres, or people like a lot of you who are what I call the middle income unemployed. And we're here to help you land, and people are landing, and that's the great thing to hear. It's not easy, and hopefully what you will learn on these programs will make it a little easier, and then hopefully you'll call us. I've actually been hearing from a lot of the people who even didn't become clients but have just been on our groups telling me when they've landed. So it's been great, and it really makes us feel great when we hear that information.
Is that what he told you?
Are, Abby, can you mute yourself? She's not paying attention.
Sorry.
We are funded by Jewish Federation of Greater MetroWest, and we thank them for our funding. And we are also, this particular program is funded by the Helen Kauslowski Foundation, and it is with gratitude that they provide us with this funding so that we can provide these programs free every 2 weeks. And once you've been on a program, we do put your name in a list. It's just a list for us to email you about the next programs that are coming up. So also what I would like to tell you before I hand over the program to my colleague is, for those of you who don't know how to do it, if you want to save what's in the chat room, then you should go to the bottom left, open up your where it says chat, and go to the bottom right, where the 3 little dots. And if you click on the 3 little dots and you hit save chat, then you don't have to scramble while everybody's putting all their information in the chat room, and you can actually pay attention to what the speaker is saying. But you can then go back and network with whoever it is who put their stuff in the chat room. So go ahead and do that. And at this point, I'm going to turn you over to Sharon Stern, who is a certified career coach and my favorite colleague. Sharon, take it away.
Not fair. I'm your only colleague. I'm just kidding.
Thank you.
We are so thrilled to have Marty Latman here today. And Marty, I just want to thank you personally. You're doing this on your free time, and you're doing this to us as a volunteer, and we're really so happy that you could do this, and so thrilled. Thank you. So Marty Latman is called by many people the best networker they know. He is a managing partner of Latman Advisory Services. From business consulting to financial advisements to professional career development and career coaching, Latman Advisory Services is dedicated to helping you achieve your personal or business goals. Marty trains, teaches, advises, and supports people in different industries, various disciplines, all in the technique they need to advance their career or be successful in their job search campaign. With his past experience working both in public and private industry, he really understands the skills needed by companies and how candidates should position themselves to meet these needs. He's known as the matchmaker and the people helper. Marty has been a guest speaker to many networking groups where he has discussed various career development topics, including networking, interviewing techniques, and advanced career planning strategies. He speaks at both local and national networking group meetings. He's co-chairman of the Financial Executive Networking Group, FANG, chairman of the FANG Bergen chapter, chairman of NJ Strategic Networking Group, and a CPA. And now, Take it away, Marty.
Aaron, that was a great elevator pitch. It was kind of long, but it was really good. Welcome, everybody. It's really nice to see a lot of friendly faces out there. That's the good news. The bad news is that there's a lot of friendly faces out there. A couple of things we're going to go through. Please use the chat box to, number one, introduce yourself to other people who are here. Tell them who you are, what you do, and how they could get in contact with you. That's number one. And number two, as I go through my presentation, if you have questions, put that in the chat box, preface it with the word question, and then state your question, because Sharon and Merrill will monitor the chat box for the questions, and this way we could get to answer, the questions you have. At the same time, as we go through this, just prepare yourself, because this will be group participation. For all those introverts out there, we're going to try to convert you somewhat to extroverts. Nancy Aronson is smiling. She knows exactly what I'm going to be talking about. And Nancy could actually tell you how it went with her. So let's see, hopefully this will work. And here we go, everybody. Let's see here. Okay. So hopefully you've come here this morning to learn about developing and delivering a powerful and memorable elevator pitch. If not, you might want to, sit anyway here and learn what it's all about, because this is what I will be talking about this morning. I'm going to talk about actually what is a pitch and what is its purpose. We'll talk about the things that you should include in the elevator pitch, in my opinion. There's different situations for elevator pitches. You might not call it an elevator pitch. Some people call it a marketing pitch. But, based upon the situation is how you deliver the different pitches you have. Then I'll talk about the various types of elevator pitches. I'm sure that most of the people here have concentrated on one pitch, and we'll explore what else is available to you. Obviously, we'll talk about what's the basic items that you should include in your pitch. Also, in my opinion, you need more than one pitch, and we'll talk about how many are needed. Oh, by the way, I'm not looking at the chat, but I'm sure that in the chat, someone will come up with a question. Are the slides available? And yes, they are. Okay. You could, if you want, you could send me an email. I'll be more than happy to distribute it to you. You could also link in with me if you want. I know Merrill will also work on, sending out the slides if you want.
Yeah, anyone who wants to email me, I will also forward them the slides.
Okay. We'll talk about how to create your elevator pitch. And I'll give you some examples of the different and the various elevator pitches that are out there to give you a guide, because I'm going to ask you to create a new pitch. And I know many of you have spent hours, some of you days, in trying to create an elevator pitch. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I bet you that you'll be able to do it once we finish. I'll talk about the delivery of an elevator pitch and how to do it. And then we'll just wrap it up. And if you have questions, along the way, we'll handle those. We'll also at the end have time for some questions. So let's first talk about the pitch and what is its purpose. The elevator pitch, it's a short and persuasive speech, if you want to call it, you use to introduce yourself or promote your product or your company or an idea you may have. That's what it really is. It's short, not long, and it's persuasive. Hopefully it is. it gives the listener a lasting impression on what I call the 3 W's. Number 1, who you are, what you do, and what is your value to them. Now remember, everyone here is unique, even though some of you might have the same titles, but you are all unique in what you have done because of your different experiences. And as a result of it, you have different values that you offer. But the value that you have to communicate is the value that the user is looking for. Okay, so that it's a reverse. What you have to do, you have to show the user that the value that they are looking for, you have. And that's the little trick that you have to keep in mind as you go through this. The purpose of the pitch is to really explain quickly and clearly a concept and to spark the person's interest in who you are and what you do. Another purpose is really to convince a person to meet with you and to learn more about you and your value to them. And that's your hook in networking, to have that next meeting so people get to know you and you get to know them. Things that you need to include in the pitch. Number 1, I'll call it an attention getter. Who you are and why you are special. You want to spark some curiosity. What are the problems do you solve? And why are you unique? Why should people listen to you as opposed to the person next to you? So it's your uniqueness why people come to you. And obviously you want to start a conversation. Okay? You can ask a question with somebody, especially if you go to a networking event when we're back to a situation where we meet people. And we are doing that physically. And many people who attend networking events, really, they're kind of nervous, especially first timers. And then how do you start a conversation? Well, a good opening question might be, what brings you to this event? The other part of the pitch is to reach the next step. Leave something for the next meeting. Okay, to do that, you could have your business card. You could also schedule your next meeting with someone. You want to get to know people and build relations with people. And you do that through the networking, and the start of it is really a pitch. Now, there's different situations where you would use your elevator pitch. Many people say, well, I do it 2 places. I do it when I go to these networking groups, and I do it when I interview. But there's also, this is a situation where in a social setting, you would use a pitch. When you go to a party, when you get together, even when you're in the grocery line, tell me a bit about you. What do you do? Who are you? Okay. You could introduce yourself through your pitch. Always in a business situation, you're pitching when you're meeting new clients, new suppliers, even new employees who you're meeting in the company for the first time. They want to know about you, and you want to know about them. Also, business seminars, professional meetings. As I said, at networking events, it's job search. Now, also, you're going to have your pitch when you meet your recruiters. Recruiters, they are a part of your different job search skills and people in your job search network to help you find that next position. And everybody here will land. It's just a question of when. So you got to be positive, everybody. ABP, as I call it. Everyone here will land as long as you want to land, as long as you pursue it. And your pitch is used in your interview. Generally, what we'll talk about is that one of the pitches that you develop is you use it all the time in your interview, and it's generally the first question that when you use it when the first question is asked of you, and we'll go through that shortly. Now, there's different types of pitches. There's what I call the general pitch, and this is a pitch that you could use in any situation. When you meet somebody on the street, when you meet somebody at a party, a get-together, right? Your networking events, etc. There's a sales pitch. That's the pitch that's used when you sell a product. And I saw Joey Himmelfarb on this call at this meeting. That Joey's really good when it comes to sales. If you want to learn anything about sales, talk to Joey. He'll tell you about it. And he could really talk about the pitch that they use to sell a product. And then there's a pitch that starts off with a question. And sometimes you hear people at the networking events, do you know of a person who needs blah, blah, blah? Okay. They don't start off with a question. There were other people who have a pitch which rhymes. It's pretty catchy too, and I haven't seen Neil Banya here, but if Neil's a really nice guy, and Neil has a pitch, hi, I'm Neil, here's my spiel. Okay, everybody remembers Neil for that. Carol McCullough, I don't know if Carol's on this meeting, but Carol talks about if you're over a barrel, call Carol. Right. Now, there's also those pitches that really have, I'll call it a tagline. I had an individual in one of my financial groups, it's going back a couple of years, and Ron had a long pitch that he was looking for a manufacturing position in northern New Jersey, and this was his background, and this is, he spoke more than one language, and he talked about that. That was all in his pitch. And it got to a point where all of a sudden, when people were saying, Ron, it's too long, what are you doing? Ron made a pitch which was like this, hi, I'm Ron. If you need somebody for manufacturing or academia, I'm the person. I'm Ron. That was it. Very short, very sweet. People knew him as the manufacturing and academia person. And when any leads came in for either manufacturing positions or academia positions, they went to Ron because it was clear, it was memorable, it was short, and people understood it. These are the basic things that you need to have in your elevator pitch. Just remember, when you give your pitch, first impressions, that's what you're giving. And a first impression is only made once. That's all you have, first time impressions. And keep in mind, to help you in developing a pitch, what really keeps people up at night, I call it, or makes them really things at the top of their mind. And these are the three things: their relationships, their financial issues, and their health issues. And if you try to work your pitch around these areas here, that these are the benefits people will get or the problems you will solve, you will have people's attention when you give your pitch. The pitch is what I call comprised of 4 C's. It has to be clear, crystal clear on what you're selling or what you're all about. It has to be concise, called under 90 seconds. Now, in doing this, if you remember, when you were in grammar school, especially the younger ages, comes Monday, the teacher would have everybody line up, and it would be, okay, what a wonderful weekend you had. Let's talk about what you did during the weekend. And you would pass it along like at the telephone game. Johnny, tell Mary what you did, but do it secretly. So Johnny turns and whispers in Mary's ear what he did. Mary then turns and talks to Alice. Alice then talks to Jim. Jim then talks to Sally. And we go on and on. We come to the end. And what happens? Susan's asked, what did he do during the weekend? And she talks about certain things. And he turns around, that's not really what I did. And the reason it's different is not concise. And what happens as it goes through the chain and meets different people, it gets filtered. Because people do not have a long memory span. And the longer the pitch, they miss things. So by keeping it concise, people could remember it easily and they could transmit it easily to other people. The pitch also has to be compelling. It has to be interesting. You have to perk some people to say, boy, I really want to hear more. And the other part of it has to be consistent. What I mean by that, you're going to be talking about it over and over and over. And if you find that it is not working for you, that's when you change it. But in the meantime, to create, I'll call it a brand of yourself, you have to take your pitch and repeat it over and over and over. The pitch should talk about a solution, what you can do to help a person solve an issue. And as I said up front, it's not about you. It's about the listener. So your pitch has to show the listener how the value that you have will benefit the listener. If the listener will not benefit from what you have to say, your pitch is coming on deaf ears, so to speak. And it's always value and how they will benefit. It's the value to them that's important in your pitch. Now, we go down, we practice, we have this one pitch. But look, in my opinion, you needed at least 6 pitches. Now you want to say 6. Well, really what it becomes is broken down into 2 sets. And in each set, one pitch is a 15-second pitch, one is a 30-second, and the other is, I'm going to call it 60 to 90 seconds. Don't go past 90 seconds. What happens is you could always say to people, would you like to hear more after the 90 or 60 seconds? And if they want to, fine. Then you could elaborate. But really in your pitch, you want to keep it short and under 90 seconds. Now you might want to say, well, how do I do all this? I got three pitches. Well, my suggestion is create a pitch that's 60 to 90 seconds. Practice it. And then what you could do, you could take that and then modify it down to 30 seconds. And then the 30-second pitch, when you started working on it further, you could then modify it and bring it down to 15 seconds. You might want to start writing down your pitch. And then once you write it down, start speaking it. Remember this, the spoken word and the written word are different. So you might write down your pitch, and then you'll see as you start delivering it, you'll cut out words, you'll modify words, etc. Okay? But that's always the best way to do it. Start big and then work your way down. So that's what the set is made up of. But there's two sets. Here's what they are. I call set one is for the people who you are addressing who are either in your profession or your industry. You know, they talk the language that you speak. You know, there's certain things, certain terms that you will use that people in your profession or your industry will understand. Other people will not. And they'll look at you with deers in the headlights. The other set, the second set, is for people in general who may not understand the terminology or the skills you utilize. They have no idea what you do. And so the pitch that you make here in set two have to be more generalized so people understand what you're doing. This is more specific in set one to the industry. Now, my background has been in the finance operation IT. I cover all three disciplines. And if I talk to people, let's say in my finance group, my finance profession, and people say, well, what do you do? And then I could say that, well, I'm in charge of SEC reporting for my company. So I do the 10Ks, 10Qs, the S1s, the S8s. I do Fox and SOX. Now, everyone who's not a finance person who hasn't dealt with SEC reporting is probably saying, what the heck is that gobbledygook he just talked about? Now, in doing that, I could take the same pitch. Well, I could, have the same type of information. And in this one, in the general group, I would say, in my role in finance, I prepare different financial reports that are submitted to different government agencies to show the performance and the issues that are being faced by the current company that I'm working at. Same information, but this is more general that people would now understand what I do when they didn't know what I did before. People in my profession know the SEC reporting is the Securities Exchange Commission, the K1 and the Q. These are all SEC reports, okay, that are done either on an annual basis or on a quarterly basis, and we just go by the name of the different report. So it's really important to make sure that, number one, you know who your audience is when you do your pitch. And then you have to remember that you have distinct people who you will address to. Those in your profession and your industry will be one type of pitch in the language that you use. But when you're talking to people in the general audience, you have to bring it down into terms that they will understand. Each pitch has to be geared to the audience. Okay. That's really important. And these are the things you want to convey to them. The likability that you have, the warmth that you show. If people don't like you, they're not going to listen to you. You want to also convey confidence. You can get the job done. You know you can by how you speak, how you position yourself, etc. And you have to convey that confidence. You also want to convey trust, that people can believe in what you are telling them. And finally, which is always the key, it's the value that you have that the people will benefit from engaging with you. Value is always the key. And also, the value is not only in your elevator pitches that you have to convey, but you have to also convey that in your resumes. Many resumes that I read, where people send me their resume, it's really a large job description. It doesn't tell me what value they are adding to the company. And so value is a key element in your whole networking campaign. You have to use networking. You want to tell a story that will enable the listener to relate to what they need and what they want.
We have a question, Marty. Can I jump in with a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Norman would like to know if you should mention years of experience.
I would not mention per se years, the number of years of experience. Okay. But there's different ways how to indicate that you're very experienced. Numerous years of experience without giving a number. Highly experienced situation. Okay. Talk about your experience. You could talk about that you've had a lot of experience, but I would personally stay away from years. It's also, I have people say, well, I have 30 years of experience. Well, what happens in the 31st year? Are they going to change their pitch now? I'm in my 31st year. Same thing on your resume. It is then opening up, especially on your resume, the factor of ageism, which is a whole other discussion. This is not the time for this. But to answer your question, Norman, I would not put, a number of years. I could put, many years, etc. Highly experienced, things of that nature. Hopefully that answers your question. Anything else, Sharon, at this point?
No other questions, but I want to encourage everybody to ask any questions, because your questions, I'm sure, are the same as everyone else's, and everyone wants to know those things. And you have now an expert that can really help you with this. So,
okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, how do you create this message, this pitch? Okay, it's what I call the 3 W's. And here they are. You want to tell the listener who you are. You want to tell the listener what is your service or your product, what you do. And the last W is why they need to hear more from you. This is where you start getting into the value on who you are that will benefit them. So in the basic 3 things you want to create in your pitch are these 3. Who, what, and why. You want to discuss your purpose that you do. and not your skills. Now, people are going to say, well, I've always been talking about my skills. I might not need your skill. I want to know what you do, your purpose. It's not your skill. But you might want to tell me you have a skill in that, you're a brain surgeon. Okay, that's a skill. But I want to know how successful you are or have been in the operations that you have performed. So I want you to talk about your performance over here, your operating performances.
We have a really important question.
Yeah.
Because you need to explain this. Isn't the object of a pitch to get the interviewer to ask you a question and then you can elaborate on your background?
That is part of the conversation, but that's not really necessarily part of the pitch per se. The pitch is really to perk their interest. Okay, so they will, yes, ask you questions. Okay, that's in the interview type pitch. You want to get engagement in your pitch. That's the whole thing. Is to engage others to start in discussing things with you so you will have a conversation. Give some validated examples with some interesting stories. And this part over here, when you're going to give interesting stories, is at that part, if you're not going to be able to do it in the 60 to 90 seconds, you can then indicate, would you like to know more? Okay? You want to provide evidence that the listener can relate to. It's one thing to just say something. It's another way that whatever you say, you have to be able to back up. And a good way to back it up is from a third party, that somebody said something, okay? Or that you've done something, and there's an example, and we're going to hit that in a second. What you want to do, you really want to make your pitch simple so that you can deliver it at any time and in any place. It's what we call KISS, the KISS simple, the KISS principle. Now look, a lot of times people present an elevator pitch and you look and say, what piece of paper are they reading it off of? Okay. And I mean, I go to a lot of these Zoom meetings now and I hear a lot of the pitches, and I'm saying to myself as I hear the pitch, all right, where is, the written pitch, the paper with the written pitch that they're delivering right now, where is it tied on their computer? Is it behind their computer screen, on the side of their computer screen? Delivery is really important. And what you want to do, in my opinion, is not necessarily memorize your pitch, but what you want to do is remember different concepts and values that you want to present and have a framework on how you will present it. Okay, here's where you go. Here's some sample pitches, and this might answer some of the two questions that we had before. Here you go. I'm John. I'm a project manager with a creative attitude to problem solving. My recent challenge has been to reduce company waste. I created a Lean Six Sigma training program, which reduced waste by over 500,000 annually. With the cost saving, the company was able to add sales staff and increased revenue by over $3 million. Let's chat to see how I can help you. Okay, now let's just break this down. You know who he is Scott. He's a project manager with a creative attitude towards problem solving. So you know right now he's going to solve problems. And you know who he is. Going to solve problems. Now, how do you know he's successful at solving problems? Well, he's given you an example over here. Here was a problem that his challenge was to reduce company waste. And how did he do it? Okay. He created a training program which reduced waste by over 500,000 annually. The company's value from this, they benefited by having this annual reduction in cost. They were able to increase revenue by over $3 million. That's the benefit to the company. Okay? So he's explained to you the value. He's given you how he has done it. He has told you what he does. Okay? He's a creative attitude in problem solving. Okay? He's not talking about his skills here. He's talking about, I'll call it the purpose, what he does. He solves problems. And here's his hook for the next meeting. Let's chat to see how I can help your company. Is it a sales pitch? Somewhat so. But mainly what happens, the person listening to this says, hey, I could benefit from this individual. I want to know more. So think about that. I'm going to give you another one. This is from a stranger. He says, same guy, he has the same name as I do, okay? He's a people helper and a matchmaker. Teaches, advises, and supports people with various disciplines in multiple industries in the techniques they need to have a successful job search campaign. That's what I do. Yeah. Does this resonate with you? Do you need to be taught and advised and supported in the techniques that you need to have a successful campaign? Over 1,200 people have told me through my coaching services they landed the position they desired. This substantiates what I do to people, for people. If you don't have the position you've always desired, let's talk to see how I can help you. This is my leave behind to try to have that next meeting with you. Here's another example. I'm John. I'm an innovator who makes it possible for business to improve their record-keeping accuracy. This is purpose. Okay, he's an innovator to improve record-keeping accuracy. That's his purpose. By working with people and technology, I help maintain control over the cost and the deployment systems, delivering benefits to the organization. This is what he's done to improve the organization. One of my clients improved record-keeping accuracy by over 10% once I implemented blockchain for them. Over here, this is the proof, if you want, to give credence to what he does. If you want a person to improve your transaction accuracy, we should have a conversation leading to another meeting. So think about that as we go through this. Okay, in constructing this type of pitch, what you want to do is a few things. You want to tell the person who you are and who do you help us serve. What can you do for the listener? What results can the listener expect by working with you? Okay, and then what you want to talk about is how do you substantiate your value? What's the proof that you're going to bring value? And as was mentioned before, you want to make it conversational. And we're going to get into that. But right now, we're going to take a little break. And this is the challenge, everybody. I'd like to, participation if we can. I'm going to give everyone 3 minutes. In the 3 minutes, and I'm going to leave this screen up, I'd like you to use these concepts and create an elevator pitch. You might want to use what you're doing right now, possibly modify it, or maybe you want to create your own. So now, starting now, why don't you create a 3-minute elevator pitch in the next 3 minutes? Okay, time's up, everybody. Wasn't that a wonderful experience? Everyone, I want to just, take a moment and appreciate, that you spent this 3 minutes in doing this little exercise. But, when I talk about elevator pitches, and generally I'll talk about the 15 seconds, and people say, I cannot do that in 15 seconds. There's not enough time. Well, I'm going to give you how long 15 seconds are starting now. That is 15 seconds. Okay. As you practice, you will find that 15 seconds is quite adequate to do a elevator pitch. The ones that I read to you before, all 3 of those can be given in 15 seconds or less. Okay. Do we have any volunteers who would like to give their elevator pitch at the moment?
Okay, it says, I wrote, hi, I'm Jen Jasmine, a human resources professional. I drive employee engagement by being an empathetic relationship builder. I recently drove the employee engagement program from 6 to 18 members, leading to the company being placed on the Hartford Business Journal's Best Places to Work in Connecticut for the last 3 years. Let's get together and see how I can reduce turnover by driving employee engagement for your company.
Any comments? Let's have a little participation here.
I like that. I like that. I mean, she said what she does. She said how she improved it. And then her hook was, how can I, let's talk. Let's get together.
Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. What you might want to say, let's have a chat to see how I could have your company be best in the state or something like that. Okay. So that's a hook. But I mean, how does that compare to what you used to use as your pitch?
Before I used to just say I'm Jen Jasmine, Human Resources, where I live, what I was looking for, and that was it.
Okay, all right.
So I like this a lot better.
Thank you. That's great.
I have some comments too, if I may. I really like that your smile when you did it. Even if you be on the phone, you can hear that smile. So I mean, everyone should keep that in mind. And then I also liked your energy. You sound like you like what you did. I like that.
That's great. Do we have another volunteer?
I'll give it a shot, although I have more edits than words.
That's okay, Anna. Go ahead. Shoot.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a creative problem solver who serves vulnerable populations, getting their needs met and their voices heard. I have many years as a provider in the serviced housing industry and believe that a comfortable, safe home is the foundation for a life well lived. I'm looking to bring my skills and experience to the field of senior housing. That's as far as I got, except that I wrote down what one of the former samples said, if you want a person who can blah, 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 we should have a conversation. So
Okay.
I know I still have to substantiate somehow, but that might take a little more work.
Well, okay, that's fine, but in going through this, how does this compare to what you were saying before in your original?
Significantly, because I would basically go, I have been terrible about this all along. Just terrible.
Okay.
The
Well,
word.
keep on working on it, okay? That's
Thank
fine. Because this could answer some of the questions. And how do you deliver this elevated pitch? Okay. You got to bear in mind a couple of things. When people, look at you, the first thing they have, the main part of this thing are this is a formula, so to speak. 55% of what they do, they look at you, what your appearance, that's their attention. 38 is on how you say things, your tone, your cadence. And the only 7% generally is what actually you say, your message. So appearance is really, really important. So is tone. And in doing that, you have to really be able to emphasize key points and have good enunciation. You have to have a certain cadence on what you're going to speak, a certain rhythm to it, okay? At the same time, what you want to do, you want to, especially if you're going to stand up, you want to have an open torso, as I call it, in that you want to have a balanced position. Generally, you'll have your hands on your side, okay? Just be a relaxed situation and limit your movement. What I mean by that, if you're standing up, don't wander all over the place. Don't dance, so to speak. Plant your feet in one area and really restrict on what your movements are as to where the body's going to move from side to side. You want to relax, and definitely you want to smile. We've talked about this before. Smiling makes a lot of warmth. It's inviting to people. Okay, be animated. Lean forward, lean into the conversation. Okay, make people feel that you are engaging with them. And body language is really, really important. You want to say your name, which we've done before. And in doing your pitch, the main thing I talk about is that number one, you have your name at the top. You open up with your name. Then you have your message, your pitch, and then you end it with your name, okay? And the reason by doing that, if you start an elevator pitch, by first going into your pitch, you're going to miss the 55%. What I mean by that, people are going to wonder, well, who is this person? What's he all about? What's she all about? When a person stands up, everyone at first is looking at you physically, and they're looking and trying to get an idea about you physically. And that's when you say your name. So you say your name, and as people are looking at you, okay, you pause, and then you go into your message. So by saying your name first, it allows people to take the 55% in on how you look, and then focus on your pitch. All right, and use your hands. Always keep your hands are a great tool if you want to do, it's big, it's small, it's compact, okay? Really, really enormous. Keep your hands above your waist and use them to really emphasize what you want to talk about. It's the body that speaks more than the word. If you're in an interview, you could tell by studying body language how the interview is going. I have a lot of people who they sit like this and they want to network with you. Well, the general consensus is, they're closing you off, but it also could be that the room's cold. So you got to keep that in mind, understand what's going on. But you want to look and focus on a group, what I call the 5 second per section. If you are in a group setting, and let's come back to when we were meeting physically, and you have a group, let's say we're all sitting in different areas, and you are going to make your pitch. Look this way and take someone specifically, focus on someone for 5 seconds, and then move on to the next section for about 5 seconds. And then move over here to talk for 5 seconds. And then you could bounce around again for 5 seconds. Do the 5 second pause and hold. Now this is going to take practice, but in doing that, it brings people into the conversation and it makes all the people in the area, okay, feel that you are speaking specifically with them. And don't become what I call an oscillating fan. And that all of a sudden you're going to talk like this and you're going to give you a presentation. I'm Marty Latman. What I do is this, and I keep on going back and forth. You don't want to do that. You just want to stop, focus, pause, move on. That's what you want to do. It's a 5 second hold, and try that as you go through it. And then at the end, when you're finished, repeat your name. Now, number one, as I said, when you first started, they might not get your name because they're focusing on your appearance. Then their mind is set for your message. And then at the end, you tell them who you are. For the people who have been at networking groups, they get this and they react a little differently. So when you say your name at the beginning, they'll hear who you are and you repeat it at the end, and it's a double hit. So people get to hear who you are twice. Okay, just to conclude this, the pitch, once again, we talked about, it's a short, persuasive speech you use to introduce yourself, to promote a product, a company, or an idea, okay? Your pitch should have the 4 C's: concise, compelling, consistent, and clear. You want to have the 3 W's in your pitch: who you are, what you do, and what is the value that you bring. Why are you unique? Different times require different pitch types. Okay, and we talked about that. Ronnie was mentioning that, during our discussion. Delivery method is important. It's the body language that talks. It's the tone that you use. It's the eye focus. Okay, it's the use of hands. That's what it's all about. And what I want to just do is leave you with these thoughts, which I leave to everyone I speak to. As you do your networking, remember your ABCs. Always be connecting with people. Always. That's the people who you already have in your network. If you haven't spoken with them for a while, reconnect with them, talk to them, let them know what's going on. At the same time, reach out and connect with new people. Networking is always ABC. And the other thing to keep in mind, which is just as important, is your ABP. To always be positive. Negative and depressed people do not get hired. You will all land, everybody. It's just a question when. Some of that you could control, other pieces you cannot. The stuff you cannot control, just let it go. Control what you can. The other thing, 2 most important words to take with you on this journey that you are on currently. And those 2 words are, it depends. Okay? Keep that in mind. There are no rules in networking. There's no book of rules, everybody. There's certain etiquettes that we follow, but there are no rules. So what you have to do is always think strategically. What is the situation? And based upon the situation determines what you do. It's dependent on the circumstances. So think. If you have a resume, how many pages do you need in a resume? People say 2. Well, where's it written that you need 2? Depends on the circumstances. Sometimes you should only give 1-page resume. Other times you might give multi-page resumes. Think before you act. And last but not least, I really want to thank you for your time that you spent with me today. Hopefully I have, given you some information that will help you as you further go through your search with your pitch. If you need my help in any way, here's where you could reach me. I'm here to help you. So is, Sharon and Merrill, who do a great job for this organization. You are truly lucky in this group to have such wonderful people lead this group for you. The other thing, if you can, I know things are tight. Once you land, or if you can before, think about contributing to the organization here. They could always use the funding to put on programs to help people like you, okay, who follow in your footsteps, who are in need of help. And these are the people who could do it, and through your donations, have the programs continue. I'm open for any other questions.
Too late to,
One second. Before we get to questions, I know you have them, hold on to them. Because I know people are going to start to drop off. So first of all, I just want to thank Marty again profusely. Marty has been a gold mine for us for years and years and years, and we just love it. Not only does he do amazing presentations, but he comes to me and says, okay, Meryl, it's time to do another presentation. So I really want to thank Marty. I want you all to give him a virtual round of applause. And we just can't thank you enough for your support of our organization and always pushing it to everybody you know. For those of you who, you should all get emails, but just to give you a heads up, upcoming attractions, the next program in 2 weeks. Sharon and I are going to repeat the Ask the Expert. And the experts are us and you, your peers. Only this time, and this is really where I looked at the evaluation, some people said that a better way to do it than the last time was to have people submit questions in advance. So we're going to do that, and it'll be in the flyer that you get, and we'll tell you how to submit the questions in advance. We'll also take questions real time, but that way we'll have some way to get started. So look for the flyer for October 15th. For those of you who asked, I know there were a lot of questions in the chat box. For Marty's slides, you can send me an email, first initial M, last name Kanner, Kanner, at jvsnj.org. I'll put that in the chat box. Send me an email. I'll send you the slides. I have them for Marty. And now if Sharon wants to take over for whatever questions that are there in the box, or you want to call on somebody. Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, David Meyer, you have a question?
Yeah, Marty, my question was on the elevator speech. Do we necessarily need to have like specific numbers on adding the value, or?
No. But look, numbers always help. It allows
Right.
people to numbers, percentages, okay, dollars, okay, or you can indicate some of the results that happen, okay. That might not be necessarily monetary, increased efficiencies, things of that nature. But generally, if you use a numeric situation, it has more impact generally.
I'll just give you, like, for instance, I'm in the commercial banking sector, the lending sector, and what I do is I provide money management, financing solutions, and I can add value by increasing business customers through the contacts, the networking skills that I have, and my industry knowledge. But I'm just wondering if I can incorporate something on the, I did this much in loans, or I don't know, something that would.
I mean, how many new customers did you bring in? And what
Right.
was the dollar value that that it brought into the bank?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, that's what you could do.
Okay.
Look, everybody brings value to a company. I do not care what position you have been in. Some
Right.
people say I'm an administrative assistant. What value do I bring? You bring value in that you help the organization function, and you help the person who you are working with to spend time doing other things so you could do the things that they don't do, so to speak. Everyone brings value. Companies just do not give you a paycheck because they want to. They expect value from you. That's why they pay you. And so everybody has a value. What you have to do, though, is really think about it. What value did I bring? Okay?
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Anybody else?
Yep.
Yes.
There's a question. Can you hear me? I've had a few people ask me about your FANG organization. Are you still involved with that? How they can get involved? Could you give us a little tiny?
Yeah, okay, real quick, the real commercial. Yes, I am still and deeply involved in the FENG, the Financial Executive Network Group. I'm chairman of the Bergen chapter. I'm also co-chairman worldwide of a 36,000 group of financial executives. Generally, the membership is for people who are either in the C-suite, in the financial areas such as a chief financial officer, controller, assistant controller, VP finance, treasurer, things of that level, okay? And what we do is that, as I say, is 36 to 38,000 individuals and with a financial background. And what we do is that we help people develop their networking skills to increase their business.
Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
Yep. Norm,
Go ahead.
I had to step away on a little emergency. I have my car being inspected for going back on lease. I apologize. Were there any tweaks that people had to my, or any suggestions for my elevator pitch from before? If you remember it.
Yeah, we remember. We talked about it, and it was behind your back because you were out taking care of your car. But that's okay.
Good, better that way.
Okay. No, well, look, Norm, in my opinion, you covered a lot of really good things. I just think it was kind of long. Okay. I think that you could tighten it up quite a bit. You've given a lot of examples. Okay, you might want to cut down on some of those examples that you've done. But otherwise, I thought you were very much on target in trying to tell somebody what your benefit is. Okay.
Okay, good advice. Any,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Marty used to have a Saturday morning group that met. I know at the church, I think it was, or
Yeah, we still meet. Okay, this is it. That's called Careers in Transition.
Right. Okay.
Careers in Transition really started in about 1983, if I'm not mistaken. We used to physically meet at the Winston School, which is in Short Hills, right on Highland Avenue by the Christ Church. Okay, since the pandemic hit, we are meeting virtually. The group meets on the first and third Saturday mornings of the month via Zoom. This Saturday we have a meeting. The meetings.
Okay, you do. Okay, this Saturday.
Yeah, this meeting on Saturday we start at 8:30 in the morning. The meetings generally run till 11. We still try to keep the same format that we had before, which is we'll have a general meeting where people will be able to give their introductions. And then what will happen is that we'll have some open networking. And then we will break out into one group is a resume review group. So if you want to have your resume reviewed, we have a committee that reviews that. We also have another group that talks about LinkedIn and things that you could do in LinkedIn to increase your exposure. And I generally run the general meeting. We talk about the issues of the day. If you want to sign up for the Careers in Transition, you could go to Meetup. And we have a Meetup group and go into career-in-transition, I think, Short Hills. In doing that, it'll join the meetup, and then you have to fill out from the meetup. We have a Google Doc to register for the meeting on Saturday. If you want to have your resume reviewed, they ask you on the sheet if you want to have your resume reviewed, and then we ask you in advance to send your resume to 2 of the people who are listed on the Google Doc. If you cannot find it today, shoot me an email, martylatman@gmail.com. Make it real easy. Try to get you the information.
What is it, Marty? What's your email?
Marty Latman, MartyLatman @gmail.com.
Okay, thanks.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay.
I also run another group if you want. I run a group called NJSENG, Strategic Executive Networking Group. That is a group for, I'm going to call middle management on up, people in all different disciplines. What I mean, I got HR, I got sales, finance, IT, logistics, manufacturing. We meet once a month on the second Thursday evening of the month. Okay, once again via Zoom. Meetings are 6:30 to 8:30. If you're interested, once again, send me an email.
Okay. Thank you.
Terrific. So I guess we're going to draw this to a close. Again, we can't thank Marty enough. When we started back in April, he was our second program. We still barely knew how to use Zoom. We've come a long way since then, and fortunately, a lot of people are no longer on the calls. I hope not to see any of you in 2 weeks from now because you've all landed jobs. But if that's not the case, then come back and ask your questions and network and get to know, because it's really going to be very interactive. It's the one thing we miss from our in-person programs that we used to run. It was much more interactive. It's hard to do that when there are 75 people on a call, but this will be a time where people are really going to give each other advice as well as Sharon and I, so please come back and join us. And for those of you who want to find out more information about our services, our one-to-one counseling, it is a very, very low fee, but we are there to teach you to be the best job searchers you can be, and we're there to teach you and help you and support you through what we know is not a fun process in your life. So you've got my email address in the chat box. Send me an email. Say, Meryl, I want more information about your services. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call and I'll explain it. And otherwise, enjoy the fall weather. Everybody stay healthy, safe. And
save the chat, everybody. Don't forget, go into the chat, click on it, and on the right side, when you click on it and the box opens up, there are 3 dots. Click on those 3 dots, and it'll indicate that you saved the chat. And hopefully through what everyone put their information in, you can do your connecting with other people, build your relationships, build your network. ABC, everybody. And once again, thank you very much for the opportunity to spend some time with you today. And once again, you are really blessed in this group to have leaders like Sharon and Meryl. They do great work to really help you out. And I'm here if you need me, so give me a call.
Thank you, Marty. Much appreciated.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you, Marty.
Have a great day.
And everybody stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you soon.